The progression illustrated in this table shows that technology tools for evaluating students can be differentiated in terms of their effectiveness at different levels of student learning. Technology tools should be aligned with student learning outcomes, beginning with simple tools found in most learning management systems, for example, quizzes, fill in the blank, matching, and short answer responses. Implications for using technology in program assessment. The use of models from both McTighe and Wiggins and Steele can help advisors with program assessment in significant ways. One advantage is that identification of outcomes for advising can be classified as process delivery outcomes, PDOs, for the advising program, and student learning outcomes, SLOs. PDOs, when students use a degree audit report to help explain their choices for educational and career planning. SLO, if they write a paper explaining why they chose a particular program. Assembling the test. Written objectives. Written test items. Packaging the test. Group together all items of similar format. Arrange test items from easy to hard. Space the items for easy reading. Keep items and options on the same page. Position illustrations near descriptions. Check your answer key. Determine how student record answers. Provide space for name and date. Check test directions. Proofread test. Reproducing the test. Know the machinery. Make extra copies, 2 to 3. Specify copying instruction, if giving to someone else to copy. Barely legible masters or originals. Test assembly checklist. Yes/no. 1. Are items of similar format grouped together? Blank, blank. 2. Are items arranged from easy to hard levels of difficulty? Blank, blank. 3. Are items properly spaced? Blank, blank. 4. Are items and options on the same page? Blank, blank. 5. Are diagrams, maps, and supporting material above designed items and on the same page with items? Blank, blank. 6. Are answers random? Blank, blank. 7. Have you decided whether an answer sheet will be used? Blank, blank. 8. Are blanks for name and date included? Blank, blank. 9. Have the directions been checked for clarity? Blank, blank. 10. Has the test been proofread for errors? Blank, blank. 11. Do items avoid racial and gender bias? Blank, blank. Administering the test. Maintain a positive attitude. Maximize achievement motivation. Equalize advantages. Avoid surprises. Clarify rules. Rotate distribution. Remind students to check copies. Monitor students. Minimize distractions. Give time warnings. Collect test uniformly. Scoring the test. Prepare an answer key ahead of time. Check your answer key. Score blindly. Check machine-scored answer sheets. Check to score. Record scores. Analyzing the test. Quantitative item analysis. Qualitative item analysis. Key. Distractor. Difficulty index, P. Discrimination index, D. Positive. Negative. 0. P, and D. P equals number of students selecting correct answer. Total number of students taking test. D equals correct in UG, correct in LG. 1/2 student in class, if odd, bigger group. Post-test results. If this is done, look at percentage answering each item correctly on each test. Percentage of items answered in the expected direction for the entire test. Limitations. Time. Contamination. Debriefing guidelines. Before handing back tests. Discuss problem items. Listen to student reactions. Avoid on-the-spot decisions. Be equitable in changes. Ask students to double-check. Ask students to identify problems. Identifying problems. Test can be improved, you are human. Focus on test, it is not about you. Sincerely examine if question is good or not, discrimination index. Really help, do not just throw out a question. Scores may change, rank typically does not. Objective of debrief is to make a better test. Sources of evaluative information. A cumulative record is defined as a permanent record of a student which is kept up to date by the school. It is his educational history with information about his school achievement, attendance, health, test scores, and similar pertinent data. Cumulative record card is a valuable technique prepared by teachers in the school for the purpose of collecting data about the students, as a result of which the teachers and guidance workers become able to offer required guidance services to the students for their prosperity and development. Bonney and Hamp Lehman. Cumulative records consist of all data about an individual pupil which a school considers important enough to collect and record, usually in some organized way, for safekeeping from year to year. A cumulative record is defined as a permanent record of a student which is kept up to date by the school. It is his educational history with information about his school achievement, attendance, health, test scores, and similar pertinent data. Ben Morris. A record card is only a tool, and unless a system of records can impress the majority of teachers as a sensible and useful device which is within their powers of use, it is likely to be a waste of public time and money to install it. Characteristics of cumulative record card. The cumulative record is a useful and permanent record that includes various information about the student. It is an up-to-date record that is maintained by teachers, including the latest pieces of information about the student. It is a complete record that includes the student's educational progress, covering the student's past achievements and present educational standards. It is a comprehensive record as it embodies all the informations about the students, such as attendance, health, test, co-curricular activities, psychological data, educational data, etc. It can be called a continuous record as it includes data about the student even starting from kindergarten level to the end of school education. It invites data about the students which should be valid, authentic, reliable, objective, usable, and pertinent in nature. A separate file is maintained in case of confidential information is collected about the students. The needed information may be given but not the card itself if in certain cases any information is required by concerned guidance personnel or well-wishers of students for the purpose of his development. The cumulative record can be recognized as Cumulative Record Folder, CRF, if the cumulative record is kept together in a folder. If the cumulative record is kept properly in an envelope, it can be called and recognized as Cumulative Record Envelope, CRE. The cumulative record can be called a Cumulative Record Card, CRC, if the cumulative record is kept in a card. The pages of the cumulative record are not open to all and it is confidential. But in certain specific cases, it may be disclosed. It is transferable from one school to another with students. Items included in a cumulative record. Personal. Home and community. Scholarships. Test scores and ratings. Health. Types of cumulative record card. The card type. The card type of cumulative record was prepared and developed by the Educational Records Bureau of the USA. This card is 9 by 11.5 in size. In case of the need for more cards, supplementary cards of the same size are attached to them. The booklet type. The booklet type of cumulative is a special book type of record which is usually 8.5 by 11 inches in size and it has 47 pages in it. It is maintained jointly by teachers, parents, headmasters, and pupils. But the major part of the information is recorded by students regarding themselves and have usually 7 sections in the booklet type of cumulative record. The folder type. The folder type of cumulative record is very popular, and it contains the aforesaid items. The California Cumulative Guidance Record has gained more popularity in the USA. This folder record contains a basic record folder and 3 or more supplementary folders according to the need. The basic record folder is 9 by 12 in size. It is divided into 4 parts, namely identification, home environment, personality development, and social experiences. Uses of cumulative record card. The CRC is useful for guidance workers and counselors as it provides a comprehensive, objective picture of the student including his strengths and weaknesses. The CRC is useful for guidance counselors to help pupils with educational achievement, vocational choice, and personal progress so far as the adjustment is concerned. The CRC is useful for the headmaster, principal to ascertain the pupil's performance in different subjects and his limitations. The CRC is useful for parents to provide special privileges to make up for the deficiencies in the case of their child. The CRC is useful for teachers to know the students and their progress and weaknesses at a glance. The CRC does not give chance for overlapping of data collected by different teachers about the students. The CRC is useful in making case studies about students. The CRC is useful for the students for the vocational purpose. Limitations of cumulative record card. The entire data is of little use if they are not collected properly, objectively, and accurately. The purpose of CRC is not served if it is not maintained secretly and confidentially. Sometimes the information and its interpretations of CRC become confusing as the informations collected by different teachers. The CRC needs money to come to light, which is not possible on the part of the school to spend on this head. The maintenance of CRC is a hardsome job like clerical work on the part of teachers. It is a lengthy process that needs much time to be worked out. What is testing in education? A test is used to examine someone's knowledge of something to determine what that person knows or has learned. It measures the level of skill or knowledge that has been reached. An evaluative device or procedure in which a sample of an examinee's behavior in a specified domain is obtained and subsequently evaluated and scored using a standardized process, the Standards for Educational and Psychological Testing, 1999. Types of scores. Raw scores and scaled scores. Raw scores. The number of points received on a test when the test has been according to direction. Examples. A student got 10 out of 20 scores in item quiz. Raw scores reflect an immediate interpretation as a response to the scores. It does not yield a meaningful interpretation because it just raw scores. Thus, we have to interpret Ali's score in a more descriptive and meaningful way. Scaled scores are the results of transformation, usually transformed through a consistent scale. Examples. A child awarded scale score of 100 is judged to have met the national standard in the area of judged by the test. A child awarded scale score more than 100 is judged to have exceeded national standard and demonstrated a higher than the expected knowledge curriculum for their age. A child awarded scale score less than 100 is judged to have not yet met the national standard and perform below the expectation from their age. Methods of interpreting test scores. Referencing framework. A referencing framework is a structure you can use to compare student performance to something external to the assessment itself. Criterion referencing framework. Criterion referencing framework permits us to describe an individual's performance without referring to the performance of others. Infers the kind of performance a student can do in a domain, rather than the student's relative standing in a norm group. Criterion. The domain of performance to which you reference a student's assessment results. Most widely used interpretation because of its ease of computation, and there is a ready transmutation table printed on the inside back cover of the teacher's class record. A criterion-referenced interpretation of scores requires a comparison of student scores with subjective predetermined performance standards, criteria. Standard deviation. The standard deviation is the positive square root of the arithmetic mean of the squares of deviations of all scores from their mean. Advantages of standard deviation. Standard scores divide differences in performance into equal intervals. For instance, the performance represented by t-scores of 40 of 50 to 55 represents approximately equal differences in whatever ability the test is measuring. This attribute of equal intervals is not shared in percentile rank. Standard scores can be used to compare a student's performance across. For percentile rank, they should be converted to B-equal interval scale before they can be added, subtracted, or averaged. Standard scores can be used to compare a student's performance across tests. For example, if a student's Stanine scores in math and verbal skills are 4 and 2 respectively, one can conclude that the student performed better in math. Limitations of standard deviation. Many standard score scales imply a degree of precision that does not exist within educational tests. Differences of less than 1/3 standard deviation are usually not measurable. This means that differences of less than 3 points on the 7 score and 5 points in deviation IQs are not meaningful. Both of these scales are too precise. Ranking. The position or level something or someone has in a list that compares their importance, quality, and success. A list that compares the quality, success, or importance of things or people. A ranking is a relationship between a set of items such that, for any two items, the first is either ranked higher than, ranked lower than, or ranked equal to the second. Strategies for assigning ranking. Standard competition ranking. It is a ranking in which the mathematical values that are equal are given equal RAN and the next, lesser value is given the next highest rank. Ordinal ranking. It is a system of ordering where each mathematical value is given a certain position in a sequence of numbers where no positions are equal. Fractional ranking. It is a system of order in which the mathematical values are equal given the mean of the ranking positions.